here with us on Overdrive. The Tata Altroz has been tweaked and now you get upgraded cabin as well as class-leading features. So is this premium hatchback one that could give some compact SUVs a run for their money? Let's find out.
Now the Nexon and the Punch are usually what come to mind when you think of Tata Motors these days, but you really shouldn't be overlooking the Altroz if SUVs are still not your thing. Especially now that with this facelift, it's become a lot sharper to look at, there's more features inside. So today, we're getting behind the wheel to drive it and see what it's actually like on the road.
The Altroz was always a smart looking car, and this update adds a modern, sharp edge to this. The front fascia has been overhauled with the heavily detailed LED headlamps and the new grille and bumpers that draw inspiration from the Nexon and Punch with their compact fog lamp housings and tough cladding. But unlike many other mid-life updates, quite a few body panels have been reworked. You have a new bonnet, fender and doors. This is most noticeable with the flush door handles on the front doors. They give the Altroz a smart minimal look that's up to date. The contrasting new alloys look good, but they could have gone up a size to be more proportionate with the rest of the design. At the rear, the boot has been reworked to fit the striking full-width lighting. It's probably the most attention-grabbing addition to the car and does more to give it a distinct premium look than anything else.
Now we are driving the Altroz in its CNG version, and here Tata's twin-cylinder technology, where essentially they've taken that big CNG tank and split it into two smaller bits. I can show you that it's right here, hidden here. And that really helps because even with the CNG tank, you have 210 liters of boot space. The normal petrol and the diesel have about 345, so yeah, it's still not as good as that. But as you can see, I can still put in a couple of these bags quite easily, so you won't be completely stranded when you are going out of town in your CNG car. Now, just like how the Altroz has been sharpened up a bit on the outside, even on the inside, it feels like a more modern space now.
A big differentiation comes with the screens. You now have the newest 10.25-inch infotainment from the Punch and Nexon here. Like in those cars, this unit is logically laid out and has quick responses. Most functions are a few taps away with the widget-based layout. The quick wireless phone pairing is a convenient touch as always. It also seems like many of this system's niggles have been sorted out. We didn't notice any glitches in the time we spent with the Altroz. The Altroz's Alpha architecture has always been space efficient, so that continues unchanged. You have the 90-degree doors that make life easy, but there's also great storage space in the door pockets and massive glove box. These can hold large bottles and other items easily. Another good addition is that with the 65-watt Type-C charging ports front and back.
Now, while Tata Motors has been improving the quality and fit of its cars, you notice that the Altroz has a few lesser rough edges than, say, what the Curve had that we drove a few months ago. There are still a few uneven bits. As you can see, this kind of doesn't quite align.
The Altroz now gets quite a few more feature additions. The only thing we really missed was ventilated seats and an auto-dimming rear view mirror. But otherwise, safety is well taken care of. There are 6 airbags and ESP as standard, and the Altroz has been reinforced and tested again for a B&CAP 5-star rating.
Now, the Altroz has a wheelbase of 2501 mm. That's not changed from earlier. So it still means that this is the most spacious sub-4 meter car that Tata Motors makes, and you really do find yourself in a fairly spacious cabin. As you can see, I have a lot of space to tuck my feet in under the front seat. I have a good deal of knee room, especially since these seats have been scooped out, and headroom for my height is good enough. Someone who is over 6 feet tall, they will have a bit of difficulty. Their head sort of scrapes here and they do sit in a slightly crouched position, but for me, if you're average size, then this is a perfectly usable and spacious feeling cabin. And that's also helped by the fact that it has a nearly flat floor, which is again always a good thing. And Tata Motors has also changed the seat with this update. What you now get, as you can see, are these quite heavy bolsters here. They remind me a bit of the Citroën Basalt, except for the fact that they are fixed. But they have a similar effect. You have quite a good deal of thigh support because of this, again, especially if you're of medium height. And yeah, and the seat back again has this nice firm cushioning. Tata always does its cushioning really well. So I think on longer journeys, this will be quite a comfortable cabin to spend time.
Well, it's time for us to take our final break here on the show, but don't go anywhere because on the other side, the facelifted Tata Altroz comes with new engine as well as transmission options. Welcome back, you're with us on Overdrive. Now with the facelift, Tata Altroz also gets new engine and transmission options, and while it does not get a turbo petrol engine option anymore, we have driven the CNG and diesel to tell you which one would be most suited for your drives.
The Altroz continues with the same powertrains as before. There is a naturally aspirated petrol which makes 88 PS and 115 Nm and is paired with a manual, a DCT or a new AMT gearbox. But we spent our time in the CNG version which makes 74 PS and 105 Nm and can be had with a manual only. We also drove the 1.5 diesel that puts out 90 PS and 200 Nm, again available only with a 5-speed manual.
Now we are driving the Tata Altroz in its petrol CNG form at first, and I must say the Tata seems to have done some work to improve the NVH levels of this engine. So yeah, while at higher revs you still have that slightly tinny, drony sound which is not very nice, but below 2000 RPM you notice that it's a bit quieter now, but the main difference is that a lot of the vibrations that you felt through the steering wheel, through the pedals, the gear lever, that's been controlled to a good extent. Now in terms of how this car feels on the road, not much has changed. So at slow speeds you do find that it's a bit sluggish. So below 2000 RPM there's really not much that's happening, and so getting off the line is a bit tricky, especially in the CNG mode where you have those reduced outputs. Which means that if you're on an incline at low speeds you have to be quite careful and give this car a boot full of throttle to sort of get it off the line. But once you are up and running it's easier. You have that very functional kind of power band where it has that mild kind of push throughout the rev band. So yeah, it's not engaging or entertaining, but you do notice that say when you come up to a speed breaker or something, you will take it in second gear. So it's quite tractable in that sense. So if you are new to driving or new to manual gearboxes, whatever it is, you can get used to it.
The flip side to this is that at higher speeds you have to plan your overtakes. For example, getting to 60 to 100 takes some effort, especially if you're in the CNG mode. Now coming to how this gearbox feels, again it's not very different from earlier. I do think the gear lever is a bit too high for me and the shift quality is decent, but it's not as precise and as crisp as some of the Altroz's rivals. You have to be a bit more careful when you shift quickly. It's the same with the clutch. It's quite light, but I do think that the bite point could have been a bit more progressive. The gearbox on the diesel behaves similarly, but the added torque seems to make getting off the line easier and makes the clutch feel more progressive even if it's a bit heavier.
But I must say that one of the strengths of the Altroz was its ride and handling character, and that has not changed. This is still a very mature, a very tied down car to drive. I think the steering feels a bit more direct. There used to be a slight delay in its responses earlier. That has been taken care of, it seems like it. So while it's not the most sharp steering on a winding stretch of road or even in city driving, you do find that you feel a bit more connected to the road. Architecture, we already know this to be quite a robust one or something that handles well. So that again is taken over from the last version, where you do find that the Altroz corners flat, it's confident, it tucks into corners nicely, neatly, predictably. So it's actually a fun car. If it had a more enthusiastic engine, this would be quite a nice car to drive.
At low speeds over broken roads, the Altroz has a slight degree of firmness which I think has been improved a little bit from the last version. This translates into a lot of confidence at higher speeds, which hatchbacks of this size lack. On broken roads, as with most Tata cars, you have that tough, solid feel, so you can take these patches without having to slow down or worry too much.
We are now driving the diesel Altroz, and immediately this is the better choice, I feel, in terms of outright drivability. Yes, many of you may not choose a diesel because the economics of it maybe don't work anymore for many of you, but just as a car, I think this is the better package for the Altroz, because immediately off the line you have that added degree of peppiness which the petrol lacks. So you can get off the line more confidently, you can pick up speed more confidently, you aren't sort of always noticing what's happening to the engine. And the engine itself, just like the petrol, it has improved in its NVH levels. The advantage that you have with 200 Nm of torque is very clear as soon as you start opening up this engine. So whether you're in traffic or on the highway, it's just easier to hold speeds, to pick up speeds. You very quickly can reach 100, and the tractability that I spoke of in the petrol is enhanced further here. With that diesel torque, what you do find that even in fourth gear you can sort of crawl from 40 right up to 100, which in the real world means that in stop-start traffic you will need to change gears a bit less often. It's a bit less of a hassle to drive the diesel. So if you are a bit more of an engaging driver, then this could be the pick for you. And if you do longer trips, or if you like doing road trips with your car, then as a first family car, this diesel Altroz makes a lot of sense. You can just keep going, keep munching down miles.
The Altroz does many things well as a family hatchback. It looks smart enough now to hold up to the presence of the similarly sized SUVs it competes with, and the features list is almost at par with them too. We do wish the CNG drivetrain and gearbox were more refined and some of the fit was better, but the Altroz continues to be a solid, spacious car with great comfort and dynamics. The many drivetrain options help with this, and the pricing feels logical too.
It's time to wrap up this week's edition of Overdrive, but remember, you can stay in touch with the team through our various social media platforms, and you can write to us on YouTube as well. We'll see you next week. Until then, drive and ride safe.